What's up, y'all? Welcome to chapter 1 and 2, kicking off one of, if not the best book on network marketing skill set, mindset combined. I tell my people all the time, if I drop dead, don't worry, it's totally fine. If you just implement the things in this book, you will be fine. You can be a diamond, even if I die. I'm going to try not to die, but if I do, just pick up the book, start back at page 1, it'll be fine. Okay, so I'm super excited that I get to kick off this week, but just want to kind of, if you're new here, the challenge for a lot of people who were in the last book club was when we start this new book club, don't come alone. And so there's several new faces, and I just want to say welcome. If you don't know me, I'm Christina. I've been here, I just passed the 9 year mark, 9 years, which feels like yesterday. And Fred, that's not going to work for me. Hang on. Get a basset hound, they said. It will be fun, they said. It is, in fact, loud. What was I saying? I'm Christina. Oh, 9 years. The point I was making is I want listen, hear me out. Because when I used to hear people, if you're new, I would hear people who would say, "Oh, I've been building this thing for 10 years." And I would think, "Oh, well, that's why she's successful, or that's why she says things are worth it." I want you to know, even if I were where you are in your business, I'm telling you, I would build the whole thing again. I would build the whole thing again. And here's why. Matter of fact, I am building the whole thing again. If you don't know this, when you get to the top of the company, you have the opportunity to re-enroll under yourself and build again. So I am an emerald on that team, and you get no benefit from your first team. So just know I'm doing the exact same things required to go diamond that will be required for you to go diamond. I'm just doing it for the second time. But there's not any like kickback or fun advantage. Like you're building it totally over again. And I hope that that speaks to the belief that I have and why this is worth it. There is not a better option. There's not. There are a lot of great opportunities out there. And listen, I have friends who they're in other industries and they are crushing it, and good for them. But I'm telling you, for what I wanted for my family, there is not a better option, flat out. Because what I want is time freedom, location freedom. I want to win fun prizes and take fancy trips. I would like to travel. I'd like to also include my kids. And I want to build something that when I die, my family can inherit. There's not a better option. So that's a little bit about me, why I'm here, and why I'm so stinking excited to get to do this book with you guys. So, few points that I want to make, and then we're jumping right into questions. Here's how this kind of works. My goal when we come together every week, you only get to hear from me once. So, hope you enjoy it. But the rest of the calls will be led by other people in this study. And the idea is that we're not going to come together and summarize the book. The assumption is that you've read the book or that you're going to be reading the book and you're going to come ready to contribute or at least receive whatever it is that we are learning together here. So I would encourage you, it's going to feel so Akko Taco to have to unmute and speak, but it's going to feel way more Akko Taco if we sit here in silence. So it's okay. It's okay. Don't wait or assume somebody's going to have something better or smarter or more experienced to say. Every single person here brings something to the table. And there's a reason that God has you in this container with this book at this time. This isn't the first time I've done this book. So if it weren't something specific that you needed right now, God would have you somewhere else doing something else. Okay. So, all right, let's jump in. If you don't have the book yet, it's okay. It's on Audible, it's on Kindle, and you can get it on Amazon in a couple days. So it's okay. Also, go ahead and make a commitment to be here at the end. I wish I could take a screenshot. Maybe we should, Terry. Maybe we should just take a print this roster tonight. You guys, the people who will be ahead in their business 6 months, 9 months, 12 months from now, they'll be the ones who finish the book study. And the ones who feel frustrated with their business, they'll be the ones who let some other reason determine why they could not finish. And I don't mean miss a call. We're all going to have to miss a call. I mean, that just happens. That's life. I have 4 kids. Like that's part of it. But I'm talking about stick it out. Stick it out. Read the stuff, show up, participate, stick it out. You will be the ones who feel like you're ahead in your business. Okay. All right. So a few things that I think she really drove home about was number one, you are the CEO of your business. That's good news and bad news. It's good news because how many of you are tired of answering to someone else? That was one of the reasons that I started building this. I loved my administration. I loved my coworkers, but I still was told when and where I had to be someplace. I was told when I could go to the bathroom, was told that, if my kid was sick, I had to make a choice. And I just got tired of that. So you are the CEO of your business. The bad news is no one's coming to build it for you. Nobody's coming to build it for you. So this is one, I think she does such a great job of driving this point home. You don't have to wait for permission or motivation or the right time. You either run your business like a business or you don't. There is no like, let's get ready to do. It's like, this is it. We're either taking action today to further our business or we're not. I love that she said you don't have to have the right binder or the right color highlighters, or I'm so guilty sometimes of trying to like get things ready to get ready. And she's like, no, just get started. Let's just get into activity. We'll talk about that in a second. I love this point that she makes about rejection being a non-issue. The top earners in this business, we don't get fewer. We just get way, way better at not taking them personally. So much of what rubs people the wrong way in building this is that they personalize things that are not personal. And what do I mean by that? If you're told no to Plexus, just know they would have told someone else no to Plexus too. So it's not personal. It's no more personal than you choosing to go to the Italian restaurant instead of the Mexican restaurant. It has nothing to do with the Mexican restaurant. You're just not interested in Mexican tonight, right? But if the Mexican restaurant does a great job of marketing and branding and referrals and things like that, there will be a time where you will be interested in Mexican. And whichever Mexican restaurant has done the best job, that's kind of where you will find yourself going. So it's not personal. All right, so let's jump into questions. My first question from chapter 1, Rumi talks about embracing a CEO mindset. So when you think about what that looks like in your Plexus business and just kind of getting in and getting going, tell me what has come up for you in that regard. Do you find yourself, are you kind of somebody that gets in and gets their hands dirty, or are you somebody that stands back and kind of gets themselves ready to get started? And how has that impacted your business? I'm grabbing my book, but I can hear you.
I'll start.
Thank you.
I'm Nancy, for those that on the call that I haven't met.
There you are.
I am the queen of getting ready to get 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 ready. When I've been doing this 5 years, and I can remember I still have the binder that I made. I went into the back office. I printed out every picture of every product and printed out the resource that went with that picture. Made everything so pretty. I even have my pens right here that are color coded, that I color code my calendar. And I get busy doing other things except for what I really need to get done. So I was called out a little bit in this chapter. So that's me.
Yeah, I think you're probably not the only one that was caught in this chapter. And I was talking to somebody on a mentoring call earlier. It doesn't matter if you've been here an hour or a decade. If chapter 1 does not make you go, "Ow," like relax, Rumi, relax. But listen, this girl has it figured out, you guys. I don't know if you guys know she was the top leader in Rodan and Fields, built a very, very successful business over there. They're obviously no longer, and she is very successful in another network marketing business. So just know the principles apply no matter where you apply them. And I think that is also so comforting, because sometimes we can think it's got to be, a certain time, certain place. I loved the fact that when Rodan and Fields went away, she joined another more seasoned network marketing company. She didn't wait for some of these like fly by night new, like she went to a company that's even older than our company, and is still very successful because success principles apply no matter what. So I loved that. What else? Who are you guys, a get inner, or a get in it and make it happen, or a stand back and wait?
I've definitely been guilty of a combination. Like I'm like, oh, take action. And I jump down and hit the ground running and I'm like, yeah. And then I end up with a list of names that now I just got off of Zoom with Christy because all of these have to get input because I was just going. I didn't do any of the color coding. I just went. And now I'm like, I got 75 names that have to go somewhere. So I think I definitely I do both because I don't want to do that. I don't want to stop and let the color coding hold me back. So then I just dive in and go, oh, might should have done a little bit of that.
Yeah, I think there's pros and cons. There's problems both ways. For sure.
I'm a sit back and learner. So I've been doing this, as you know, Christina, like a little over a year. And I sat back for, I don't know, 12 months of that, doing nothing until January. I was like, all right, Jessa, I'm ready. And this kind of goes into chapter 2, but it was like that mindset shift. And now it's like, okay, time to get serious. But it took me a whole year of making excuses, and like that part really hit me because I have so much going on in my life and I let that stop me. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that you went ahead and segued to chapter 2. This is a fun fact some of you guys might not know. It took me a year to say yes to the business, right? Brittany started the business, obviously well before I did, and worked for about 7 months and got to about senior silver, and then got really frustrated. Kind of like Danielle, she just kind of sat on the sidelines and was like, I'm not doing this. I can't do this. I'm not doing this. And she basically stopped working her business for about a year, made a decision, just like you said, drew her life. She was like, there's not a better option. I'm going to do this, and went emerald in 18 months. So that decision, like that situation that year, there was a reason that you weren't prepared to do what it takes to build this. And that can be different now. So I love that. What did you guys think about what she said on page 15 about the 4 reasons why people fail?
They're not 100% coachable. For me, that absolutely slapped me silly, because you think you're coachable. You're like, oh, yeah. And then all of a sudden, you're not following the systems. You're trying to reinvent the wheel. You're making excuses for other things. And the things that she brings up that you think you're coachable on, and all of a sudden, you're not, because you're getting frustrated. You don't have an open mind. You don't seek help, and you don't seek the community. So, and then getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That was another one that was a big thing for me, because I don't realize how often I actually do hide behind my comfort zone. So I made a promise that, okay, I'm going to start doing videos. And Diana can attest to that, because she has been begging me for months and months and months and months to do videos. So I finally, and this book really helped do it, though, because she's just in your face telling you everything you hide behind in the mirror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You would be surprised so Terry, I hope I can tell the story. When Terry joined, Terry was a chronic negative self-talker, the most positive person to everyone around her, but a negative self-talker. I'm talking about, I'd never met anybody meaner to themselves. And so when she decided to build this business, I helped her be aware of the fact that she was doing this. And she's like, oh, I ain't doing that no more. I want to stop that. I'm like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, I'm sure. So every time I would literally go, you're doing it. And I mean, this went on for months. Every time she would speak negative, I would literally either her or be like, nope, not listening to that. You did it again. Now she doesn't do it. She literally can herself. But what's funny is if you will pay attention to how many times you say the word comfortable, just in our conversation earlier, you're like, well, I'm getting more comfortable, as though that's a requirement. It's not a requirement. You don't have to get more comfortable. The day you stay comfortable because you got comfortable is the day you started going backwards. And people say that's not true. It is true, because what scares you now, it won't scare you later. But that's not because you got more comfortable. It's because you're busy being uncomfortable doing the next level of it. So pay attention to how many times you say or think comfortable. Because if the goal is one day this is going to feel more comfortable, that will feel more comfortable, but only because there's something way scarier that you're now facing. So again, this is all full of good and bad news. Good and bad news. It should never, ever feel easy. It shouldn't, but easy is not what we're after. That would be like us thinking, okay, once I get these children to 18, I'd be done. No, you are not. Absolutely not done at 18. So we just embrace that. That's just going to be the journey until the day that we die. It's just going to be being a mom is hard. So I love that, Eleni. And here's how you know if you're coachable. How many of you did what she said and actually took the time in chapter 2 to craft your why? Or how many of you thought about it and thought, I'll get back to doing that? There's all these action questions, and it's like, okay, the people that are coachable, they scribbled in their book and they did the thought work required. And those that desire to be coachable thought really hard about doing that or said, I will do it in the future. And listen, I have been both. I've been both. So it's absolutely no judgment. Terry will tell you for the first several years, I didn't even read. I would read the chapter of whatever I was required to teach. I'm not kidding. I would pick it up, thumb to my chapter, show up, put a performance on, be done. Obviously that has changed, and that's why my results have changed. But coachable just means doing what the successful people say will get you what you want, not out of obedience. It's never out of obedience, but it's out of, I trust that this person that's leading me can actually help me get what I say that I want, not because they're perfect, because I'm going to screw it up a million times, but because this is the best effort. This is the best option that I have here. What were y'all's thoughts on that part of the book? I loved when she said, if you're not coachable, it will matter because you will not be willing to talk to enough people. What you'll do instead is try to find ways to make that easier. Try to find ways to expand your network bigger or faster or louder, or try a different avenue. Like, okay, I know I'm supposed to talk to people, start conversations, whatever, but instead maybe I'll start a newsletter. Maybe I'll start a private this. Maybe I'll do a vendor event instead, because that feels less scary than me having to pick up the phone or send a message. I'll just go rent a booth, and I'll, have the pink drink in not that doing a vendor event's bad. I've done plenty of vendor events, but do you see how if that's in place of the uncomfortable thing, that would be, being uncoachable.
Okay, so I mean, I've been around for 5.5 years now, and reading these 4 reasons, like, it really hurt my feelings.
Why, Rach? Tell us why.
Feelings. Well, I mean, I've seen all these things in my 5.5 years and myself. Sometimes all of them at the same time. And that's when it really sucked. So there's that. But I mean, I told you earlier, I think the most recently would be like not being willing to be uncomfortable for extended periods, because I'm really great about being like, yes, I did one uncomfortable thing today, check the box. Like, I'm a leader, pat myself on the back, move on. But it's not like consistent, because I know I'm supposed to be uncomfortable and I'm a rule follower. So I want to be uncomfortable so that I can tell you in April that I did something and then feel good about myself.
Listen, I like the self-awareness. I'm digging it. Okay.
And then, but I think, so as I was reading this time, when you got to reason number 4, and it's like, they're not hungry enough. I think if you're not hungry enough, you're not ever going to be willing. Yes. Sorry. You're not ever going to be willing to consistently be uncomfortable if you're not hungry enough.
Yep.
And I think that's been a lot of my issues, going in and out of hunger, like having spurts of, oh, I'm ready to sprint, and then pull back because it's too uncomfortable. And so I come back to this, which goes into chapter 2 about your why, because if your why is meaningful enough, and apparently tied to yourself rather than others, you'll be willing to be uncomfortable.
Yeah. I love that. And let's hang out on this hunger piece for a second. If you guys don't know, Brittany has a Patreon app. There's a link to get it for free. She doesn't want our team paying for it. I'm not technologically smart enough to figure that out, so I pay the $3, and I just couldn't figure it out. But if you're not listening to her Patreon, somebody smarter than me can tell you how to get it for free. But she did a episode on hunger and ownership, and I got questions from several of you guys, like, what's my role as the leader to figure out someone's hunger level. Like, how do you help somebody be more hungry? And the reality is this: you don't have to tell a hungry person they're hungry. Think about homeless people, or I was a school teacher, so I have experience with this. Like homeless kids, hungry kids. You don't have to tell them to go look for food anywhere they can find it. You don't have to tell them to look in the trash can. It's an instinct. They will look wherever food could possibly be, and they'll eat whatever it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They'll eat. Can you agitate hunger in someone on your team? Yes. Your job as a leader is to cast a vision, meaning help them paint a picture where they can see, smell, touch, hear everything that their life could and should be. So it needs to be so apparent in their mind's eye. That's your job. Cast vision. Your job is also to help them build belief. If you cast a vision, but they cannot fathom themselves ever getting there, then it's just a fantasy. So your job is cast vision, build belief, kind of shorten that bridge between where they are and where they want to be by storytelling, by teaching them success principles, by helping them understand network marketing as an industry. There's a lot of ways that you can build someone's belief. At the end of the day, can you make someone who is not hungry hungry? You absolutely cannot. You can't. You can encourage somebody, you can inspire somebody, but somebody who's not hungry, taking them to a buffet and letting them have access to all of the food that's available, but they're stuffed on spaghetti and meatballs, it's not the buffet. It's not the buffet's fault. They're just not hungry. Okay. So you got to go find somebody that's hungry. So I just wanted to, it's so important that you're aware of your own hunger level, because it's very obvious to whoever's leading you, your hunger level. Because go listen to the Patreon. She tells you in there how to determine if you're hungry and if your team is hungry. And it is absolutely how I determine who I'm mentoring, is based off of hunger levels. Which does take us to chapter 2. Any other thoughts on chapter 1, the 4 reasons that people fail and why that's not going to be you? Most of the time when somebody comes and says, hey, I don't think I'm going to do this, it's one of, I can literally circle, underline, and tell you the date that I knew that was going to be their answer based off of their cooperation in these 4 areas to get what they want. Any thoughts?
Well, no, I feel like, Christina, a lot of the times, if number 4 is not true, the other ones aren't going to hold out anyways. Like if you're not hungry, if you're not hungry enough, you won't get uncomfortable and you won't be coached. Like you have to have that hunger to make you do the other things. It's like it's number 4, but really I feel like it should be number 1, because it's really hard to find someone that will do the other 3 if they don't have that hunger.
Well, you can find the people that will do the other 3. They just won't do it for long. They won't do it for long, because the difference between hunger and not hungry is just desire. I might not be hungry. I don't have to be hungry for ice cream. Listen, I have a whole special stomach compartment for it. Like it doesn't matter. Me and ice cream, like we get down like 4 flat tires on a Cadillac. I'm not kidding. I don't have, that's a desire. I could take it or leave it. Like my life isn't depending on me having it. Like it's just a nicety. And so I'm willing to do, like if somebody were to bring me an ice cream, I'm probably going to have a few bites. Am I going to like go put my clothes on, put some shoes on, lace them up, get in my car, have to go in public, go into the store, deal with the freezer aisle? Like, am I going to do all that? No, I just desire to have it. It's nice if I have it. It's fine if I don't. Not going to like go out of my way. So that's the difference. You might get them to participate, but they're not going to stay for long. They're not going to stay for long.
Can I jump in and say something?
Yes, I just saw where you raised your hand on the little thing. I've never had anybody do that.
Oh, I was trying to be polite. Hey, y'all, I'm Sarah. So I don't know if I agree about the hunger, and if they're not hungry, they're not going to do the others. Because for me, I go in and out like my drive or my desire. And I think that people that you're working with may also, but I think that's where consistency comes in, and like building those habits, because there may be days where like, I don't care if I bring in 5 figures this month or 1,000, like I just am not hungry for it. But if I built those like habits of being consistent and showing up, then those results will still come. So, like, yes, we want to find our why. We want to work with people who are hungry. But if you build consistency, you can get past those like valleys where you just don't give a crap, you know?
No, 100%. So that's what, here, I'll tell you what this reminds me of, Sarah. Y'all have to tell you a funny story. Somebody please ask in the chat how Sarah and I know each other. We're going to go ahead and let the cat out of the bag.
Oh, Lord. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Let's just do it, Sarah. So I've known Sarah for a long time, like, I don't know, 25 years, I guess.
Yeah.
My ex-husband was her high school sweetheart. Isn't that interesting? Those of you that know Daniel and it's a very interesting story. Here we are. She just joined today, as a matter of fact.
I did.
So excited that you're here. And I would agree with that. Here's why I would agree with that. I think hunger comes in seasons. And here's what I mean by that. There have been times in my business where I have been desperate. When I started, I had a newborn and I felt so much pressure about our income because I had 2 big kids too, and their expenses were growing. Extracurricular this, competition cheer that. And I was a school teacher who had just taken 12 weeks of unpaid leave. So like there was a lot of pressure. So I was definitely hungry then. Okay. Built this thing for 3.5 years, had another baby, left the classroom, came home. Except when I came home, I was not holding my rank of senior Ruby. I just decided to sink the ship and hope for the best. Okay. So definitely hungry then to figure some things out. Fast forward a year, diamond reentry. I was real comfortable. I was making more money than anybody I had ever known in my life. And I would definitely tell you my hunger level was different then. Instead of I want to grow and I'm willing to do whatever it took, it was like, I'm going to maintain this. I worked really hard for 5.5 years. I'm going to maintain this. And then, you have to expand your why. She talks about that in here, expand your vision. It took me doing that to create a hunger again. All of a sudden, I had achieved everything I set out to achieve. And so it was like, okay, I either stay here or I got to figure out some other reason to go. I think the same thing in my fitness. I've been in fitness now for, I don't know, 15 years. And there are definitely seasons where I am more hungry, figuratively and literally, based off of what my goals are right then. Like if I'm at a decent weight, I'm at a good leanness, I feel strong in the gym, my energy's good, I will absolutely indulge more than other times. But if my pants are tight, I'm sluggish, I ain't feeling great in the gym, all of a sudden I'm hungry to make changes, I'm going to do the more uncomfortable things than I would a month ago. So I definitely agree with that, Sarah, that it can wax and wane for sure. It can wax and wane for sure. And I think as a leader, what the way that you get down to the nitty-gritty is find out what they want. What do you want? And then do they have a game plan for how they're going to get it? And sometimes people in your business will be perfectly happy staying where they are. And then your job is, okay, how do I help them maintain this? If all they want to make is $1,000 a month, fine. How do I help them maintain this? So yeah, that's good stuff right there. Oh, I see a question in the chat. Did you see your why shift from I want this lifestyle to once you achieve that, you're helping others feel better? Oh, 100%. 100%. So if you've ever heard my leadership story, I was a very self-centered leader. Almost no one from my first original team is still here. Before I went Emerald, Jackie is a lone soldier, I think. Who else was anybody else here before I was Emerald? Okay, so let that comfort you as you're building your business and you're like, oh my gosh, this gold on my team quit. Welcome to the club. Okay, welcome to the club. So Jackie stuck it out with me. Probably, Michelle. Yeah, Michelle, you were here too. Hepner was my level 2 for a long time. But it took me really kind of falling flat on my face, Corey, to realize that I was going to have to develop a deep love for people. I think it came a lot with coming to know Christ and realizing that my purpose had to be bigger than a paycheck. So yeah, it definitely shifted. And I still have really big whys as far as my own personal business. Like there are things that I want to accomplish and give my family and all kinds of things that are tied into like a personal purpose. But I would definitely say my why has shifted to massive impact. And I don't think it had to wait until I was diamond to become that. I think that if I had surrendered my life to the Lord prior to becoming a diamond, it probably would have been bigger back then. It just would have been more meaningful. All right. Let's see. What else? I want to hear some of y'all's whys. Okay, listen, I told y'all 30 minutes. So if you have another commitment, feel free to hop off. But if you want to stay on and share your whys, I would love to hear from whoever would like to volunteer. And if you haven't worked through your why, it's probably because it feels hokey and wonky and weird. If you go talk to ChatGPT about it and tell ChatGPT to ask you some questions to help you develop your plexus why, he will. And then you guys, like, he will help you come up with a vision statement, and like he'll give you a day in the life of after you've achieved it. Like, he'll call your kids by name. It's really impressive. So if it feels hard to like come up with on your own, that is a strategy. But I want to hear from some of you.
He's not necessarily easy either, though.
He ain't easy.
Like,
I have to talk to him rough sometimes about, listen, ChatGPT. Kristen named her ChatGPT Sage. I need to name mine. But I'd be like, listen, I would never say that. And he had me shopping at like, I don't even know, some name brand thing. I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Put me at Target. Put me at Target.
he was asking questions today, and I was like, oh, I'm like deep thinking here. I'm out for a walk, dude. Hold on.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay, go. Aaron, I saw you. You're next.
I think where I'm at after, because I listened to the chapter and read chapter 2. And I think that's what I'm struggling with is I go in and out of hunger, but I think part of it is that I don't have a solid why. I have things that I want. I have places that I would love to see, but it isn't I'm not looking for something to make me cry. I don't think that exists, but I'm looking for something that's going to keep me getting up and doing the stuff in the morning. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm lacking. And that's what I have to find.
Yeah. I think sometimes, Michelle, and just because I've known you for so long, I think sometimes it's belief in there that has been broken, and then discipline in there that it's just the keeping the promises to yourself. Keeping the promises to yourself. But I do think developing that why. Go argue with ChatGPT for a bit.
I will.
And you can even tell him, like, this is how I want my kids to feel. Here's like, you go argue with him a bit. He might be able to help you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Aaron, Erod.
Well, I was going to say, my why has changed so much. And what I found is whenever you really kind of break it down into different areas of your life, you can, it really gets you to move, because I think sometimes we think our life is just this one big thing, but we have a spiritual life. We have health goals. We have relationship goals, marriage goals with our kids. And so if you feel like you don't know where to start, just pick one of those areas and focus on that one, and it will inspire you to move into another one.
That's so good. Yeah, I mean, that's what we do at the beginning of the year when we're sitting down to set goals as a family. Like, you kind of break it down into those categories. That's really good.
Yeah. Just break it down, because whenever I started breaking it down just for my kids and my marriage, and then my career goals kind of followed after that. And then that triggered into my health goals, right? And so just break down one of the areas that you want to focus on the most right now, and focus your why on that. And once you get finished writing it, then it's going to inspire you to take action into another one.
That's so good. And once you, like, if let's say you do this in an AI, Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, once you get something really solidified, then you can ask ChatGPT for a game plan to accomplish it, whether it's a health goal or a business goal. He will literally even tell you like a day-by-day game plan, so that would, have you on the right track. Whether it's saving a certain amount of money or paying off a certain amount of debt, it's crazy. It's crazy what he can do. Okay, Jess Hobbs, what you got? Thank you, Aaron.
I'm on my phone, so I'm going to read y'all what ChatGPT did for me today, but I'm going to swipe off, so y'all might not see me.
Okay.
I thought this was so good. Okay, I'm building a 6-figure Plexus business so that I can come home full-time to homeschool my children well, afford our dream home, and still have the freedom to travel, because travel is a priority for our family. I want to provide abundantly for my children, show them what is possible, and demonstrate to them that their mom is successful. I'm called to lead and impact women finding meaningful work that ties into ministry and allows me to give generously to my church. I'm proving to myself that I can be successful, build a thriving business, and be a disciplined person. If I don't pursue this, I risk staying stuck on the same place for 5 years from now, dealing with financial struggles and missing out on the life that I know that is possible. But by showing up consistently and leading well, I will create a legacy, becoming, this is funny, I put in this in here, becoming the grandma who pays for all her grandkids' vacations, which I do love that, helps my children financially, and gives with no regrets. This is why I will not quit. So it gave me that based off of a bunch of questions that it asked me, that I was like, help me form my why. Here's some different things. And then it asked me some more questions. And I just kind of held my talk to text down and just answered every question it said. And that's what it came up with. And I love that.
Love that. Girl, telling you, there ain't nothing more motivating to me than fear. And so when he said, if you don't pursue this, here's what's going to happen. I'm over here like, oh, we're going. Oh, wait, this isn't my why. Fear is a fantastic motivator for me. I'm like, oh, that's not an option. Not an option.
Yeah.
I love that, Jess.
I thought that was good.
I totally can see you as the traveling grandma.
I can. My mother-in-law is a traveling grandma, and I've always said I want to do that for my kids. And I think I've told ChatGPT enough about things or trips that it knows that, which is interesting because after I told it all of that, it sat there for probably 3 minutes saying updating memory. Like, trying to remember all the things.
I love it. Love.
My chat GPT did the same thing, Jess, but it like asked like all those questions all at one time. So I just messaged it back. I said, whoa, buddy, can we just take these one at a time? This is a little overwhelming for me. And he says, this sounds great. And he started one question and I would answer. So we just did back and forth all day. But this is what he broke down for me. And he took me down a whole road I wasn't even thinking about, because my why when I started, for those of you that are new, like right after I started Plexus, my mom was diagnosed with a terminal illness. So that became my why. I needed to stay home and take care of her. Well, she's recently passed. So what happened to my why? I have to refine it. So ChatGPT took me on the whole road today. But this is what he came up with based on my answers. And it says that my why isn't just about money. It's about breaking free from a lifetime of scarcity, stepping into my true worth, and proving to myself that I can create abundance. It's about showing up in my marriage with confidence, being a role model for my family, and helping other women realize that they too are limitless. And I mean, if that don't get you out of bed, let's go.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad that you were able to be with your mom that whole time. That just makes me want to be like, thank you, Plexus, and wrap it up in a big bow. That's so
every day. Every day.
So special, Molly. And I love that you're refining your why now.
Yeah. I'm refining a lot of things, but I mean, my why I have to figure it out to get moving.
Well, that's why it has to be personal, deeply personal, because it is dependent on other people. I mean, we do it with our kids, and then,
Right.
they have the audacity to go grow up. So rude.
Right.
I love it. Yeah, I love that. Anybody else want to share their why?
Okay, so I have a vision statement that it gave me.
Oh, fancy. A+ for you.
Okay, and hopefully I got all my emotions out earlier because I be emotional lately. So.
Emotions are allowed. Brittany always says, if you don't cry, it don't count. I'm like, well, that means all of our years of friendship hasn't counted. Oh no.
Okay. So I did the same thing, told it I wanted a why. I told it what I really wanted, but I want to know why I want that. And then it took me through a series of things and then made a vision statement for me. I didn't even ask it to, it just did it. But I am building a 6-figure business so I can break generational cycles, create financial security, and give my family opportunities we never thought were possible. I am proving to myself that I can lead, inspire, and build something meaningful that changes lives, including my own.
Yes, you are.
I think you're probably not alone in the whole wanting to break some generational cycles. And it doesn't have to mean anything bad about your parents or your families. We all come in with generational patterns or cycles or habits or consequences or circumstances. And I know every single one of you on here that has kids would say, I hope my kids end up better than I am. I want my kids to outperform, out succeed. And I think there's so much power there, Rachel. That is that right there, get up and get moving. That right there will do it. Because if we don't, then we're by default passing it down to our kids to have to figure out. If we don't, I mean, I saw a quote one time that said it ran in my family until it ran into me. And I thought, I'll take that. I'll take that. So I love that. All right, final thoughts. I promise I'm going to let y'all go to the bathroom before team call, which I'm also leading. So if you're tired of me, sorry, you get to deal with me at 9 o'clock. If you're new here, we have a team call on Mondays at 9. Feel free to hop on. We can drop the details if you want the Zoom ID. But if you are in this and building this thing, I definitely will see you on at 9. Final thoughts, questions, comments, snide remarks. All right, remember, we're not after perfection here. You might miss a chapter. You might have to go back and catch up. We're just after finishing what we start. This is an opportunity for you to keep a promise to yourself. See it through. Okay, see it through. All right, I will see you guys next week for chapters 3 and 4. And Raven, I believe, is leading us next week. So excited for y'all to hear from her. All right, guys. Bye.